Okay, I am live. Hello. I need to make sure that you can hear me, and I need to share this. Okay, I am live. Hello. I need to make sure that you can hear me, and I need to share this. Okay, I am live. Hello. All right. I think I've shared it everywhere that I can share it. Hello, Talisha. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Therese. Thank you. I'm glad you love my channel. I don't do the live chats very often, but every now and again I think, hello. I think it's a really good idea to do the live chats. Today's going to be just a general chat. I have YouTube open, but I have YouTube muted. And I have the Google Live chat open in Google Hangouts. I don't know how to do the encoding for any of the newfangled stuff. So YouTube is a little bit behind Google Chat. So it might have a tiny bit of lag. I'm not quite sure. I like Google Hangouts. I don't know why they are changing things. I think as of April they changed a few things. So I really like Google Hangouts. It's really easy to use and you don't have as many problems. I've tried the encoding thing with various different systems. I think OBS or something like that I tried. Didn't work very well for me. So I'm just going to chat about whatever is really on my mind. I've finished my Omni Journal pages except for one little part, and then I'm going to step outside after this and go paint one of my Mother's Day presents. Hello, Rita. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Allison. I think I've addressed everybody so far. I've been really busy doing like a bunch of little stuff. I created an insert myself, a DIY insert for my little Janellefish A7 traveler's notebook. I used a bit of scrap paper. I used some drawing paper and some Tomoho River paper that was in the back of the journal. And it's not straight. But I just wanted it for fun, for a tiny little journal. I need to get two little tiny charms to go on here, and I thought I had some, but I don't. So I can toss this in my purse. And this is one for notes, and then this is one with whatever in it. And I can actually do this when I just want to do a little tiny drawing, or I can do it when I want to do something here and do a little tiny. I just subscribed to Little Raven Ink on Patreon, and she has this thing right now with the tiny little journals, and she does the Nook dwellers and things like that. So I may try doing some little extra bits of journaling. Faces is one of the things I'm practicing a lot, trying to get face shapes. It even says tiny journal with some watercolor on it. That's probably going to be backwards, and if it is, I'm sorry. But I want to practice faces, and I want to practice just little bits and pieces of different things. No, it's not backwards, so that was good. But like I said, it's not straight in there, but but I just put it together. I just threw it together with the needle and some of this, but this is 3 pieces of thread twisted together, so I had to take it apart, and that was the biggest pain in the butt, that part. You like that art idea, Jen? Hello, Jen. I like practicing different things, and I don't always want to do it on my journal pages. I don't always want to do it in the Omni Journal. I'm definitely not always going to want to do it in the Illustrated Journal or even in any of my sketchbooks. So I thought, why not use that A7, the little mini one, for something like that? Just a general idea, because I can do pencil sketches or ink sketches or anything. I don't always have to color it in. But if I get an idea while I'm out, and I have Saturdays, I mean, I have Sunday hair, so you know, if I move and it shows all this in the back, it'll be okay, because in a little bit, I'm going to throw a bunch of conditioner, moisturizer in my hair, and then I'm going to take a shower. So, it's the weekend. But I really like the idea because inside of here is drawing paper. And drawing paper is not wonderful. Thank you, Laura. It's not wonderful for watercolor, but it's really great for pencil sketches, and it's really good for ink sketches. The Tomoho River paper does really well with watercolor for the most part, but I'm getting more and more inclined towards wanting to practice a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. Like sometimes I want to practice on actual watercolor paper, because I'm trying to improve my drawing skills, and 2, my watercoloring skills. And Tomoho River paper is great for journaling with watercolor. When you want to like sketch your day, like in a Hobonichi or a Crossfield or an Enigma, or you know, you make your own inserts out of Tomoho River paper. It's great for a journal. And the Enigma, because it's 68 GSM, is great for an illustrated kind of journal. But for actual watercolor, like where I'm practicing creating a canvas or a picture for someone or something like that, I really need to go with watercolor paper. And I've got a different tooth. It's a different texture. So I've sort of been evolving more and more towards congratulations on your new published poetry book. Wow, that's so awesome. I'm gravitating more and more towards the journaling, and I think some kind of eventual illustrated book, whether it's going to be a children's book or an actual book where I publish an illustrated journal or of some kind, a book about journaling or something. I don't know. I'm still writing fiction. I'm still writing. I don't have nearly the time that I did when I first started YouTube for writing. When I first started YouTube, writing was all I did for the most part. I journaled, but I did a lot of text journaling and some doodling and some scrapbooky kind of journaling, like Smashbook style journaling. And I would doodle on those pages, and I've gotten more and more back into art. And the more that I get back into art, the more I have time for, the less I have time for everything else, it seems. The more of my time is devoted towards watercolor and art and drawing and learning how to be better at drawing. But I find myself at least 2 or 3 times a week really writing, like for a couple of hours at a stretch. So I can't give up writing. Writing is very much a part of me, but I don't have the kind of time that I used to. I definitely don't have the kind of time that I used to. And people are like, well, but you don't work. But I do work. I just don't have an out of the home job. So it's a little bit, I probably need to rearrange my schedule better so that I do have more time for things. But I find that I take more time for myself lately, more time to relax, more time to just kind of do or be whatever it is that I feel like doing at the time. I think part of being creative means that you dabble in a lot of different areas. And maybe for you, that area is poetry. I used to write a ton of poetry. That was my big thing, was poetry. But I found that as I've gotten older, it's easier for me to write poetry when I'm depressed or anxious or upset or like miserable. It's very hard for me as I've gotten older to write poetry when I'm happy. Middle grade stories for that. Thank you, Rita. I like children's books and middle grade books, especially with my grandson. I think my first foray in this is going to be getting probably a watercolor sketchbook um, for specifically for a book for him, and starting now with a book for him, and I'll draw it up in like just a regular drawing sketchbook or just some blank paper or whatever. But I think my first attempt at this, because I'm getting more and more towards where I want to create a story for him, a book for him, and do the drawings and stuff myself. So that will be it'll be my start in it. So I can't guarantee that his will be the best out of the bunch, but it will definitely be the most original. So, you know, but I think when it comes to creative endeavors, for me, I find that if I don't dabble in a couple of different areas, if I'm only doing one thing, like if I were only to do the Omni Journal, and I only did one certain kind of layout on a page, or I only did one certain kind of thing, I would get bored with it within no time. And the more I've learned, the more I tend to mix up pages. Even on the same spread, I'll mix up things. I don't like sticking to one thing only, because I like a lot of different areas. You do stories and poems. That's cool. I could do like little short tiny poems when I'm happy, and I can on occasion find a picture or something else in real life and be inspired by that. I have written my husband a few poems. I've written a poem about Victor. Those kind of poems, the shorter ones, I can do, that don't take a lot of time. But I used to write pages and pages and pages of poetry, or do it on the computer. And I needed an outlet back then. I was in an unhealthy, unhappy relationship, and I needed an outlet. And poetry was the best outlet back then. I tried writing fiction, and my mind just wasn't in it because it was all over the place emotionally. And that for some people would be a really good time to kind of lose your way in fiction, but for me it didn't work. I find that the more stable I am, and the happier I am, the easier it is for me to write fiction, whether it's poetry, and it's little bits I can do, but not the longer poetry. I don't know, maybe I need to be in the dark space to write poetry and in the happier space to write fiction. But my art tends to work no matter what. When it gets to a point where I don't want to journal, and I don't want to read, and I don't want to write, then there's seriously something wrong. Because I can text journal no matter what. And when I don't want to journal in any shape or fashion, and I don't want to read, because reading has seen me through a tremendous amount of events in my life, happy events, sad events, tragic events. So when I don't want to read, which is my happy place, reading is my happy place. Even if I can't art, if I can't write, I can always read. So when it gets really bad and I can't read, then we have serious problems. Then it's time for me to readdress things. So I just have found that I have to have some kind of creative outlet. There is a gnat in here, and it is driving me absolutely crazy. So does anybody have any questions? I should have done a Writer Wednesday video, life after Camp NaNoWriMo, but you know, I just I got really busy and I didn't do it. And now I'm thinking that I guess I'll be doing one this Wednesday, which is gearing more towards the end of May and preparing more towards July's Camp NaNoWriMo, which June would be the preparation month for July's Camp NaNoWriMo. And I feel like I'm constantly falling a bit behind with some things. So I'm going to wait to see if anybody has any questions. Trying to teach myself how to use watercolor. Have you got any tips for me, please? See that big stack of books behind me on the desk? Those are, hello Heidi, those are most of my books about journaling or art. I am a novice. I am learning how to watercolor. I watch a lot of how-to videos on watercolor. I watch a lot of the ones where they paint from a reference, either a real life reference or a picture reference, and then I watch the video, and then when the video is finished, I get some of my supplies. I try to get some of the same ones they use, like the same kind of colors, even if I have a different palette of watercolor. And then I go back through and I watch it, and I recreate and I create it myself, watching them again, because I find it easier when you're watching somebody else's techniques to learn. That's really helping me. One of the things that I used to do was put way too much water on the brush or way too much paint on the brush. And when I started kind of slowing down, I was doing it too fast. I wasn't waiting for things to dry. I don't have a heat gun. I have a blow dryer that I can use, but I found that if I take a step away from it, let stuff dry, go back to it, I'll go clean something or I'll go do something else, and then I go back to it, then once it's dry, I can kind of look at it better and get a better idea. So Jen asked, have you been able to take anything off the table in order to focus on less things? How have you been able to manage the overwhelm? I took creating a writing video off the table every week, so I don't do writing videos every Wednesday anymore. It gives me more time to write, to actually write, than to be trying to film a video to talk about writing. I find that when I'm talking about writing, it takes a lot of time to create those videos. And when I'm talking about writing, if I'm doing that, then I'm not really writing. I'm just talking about writing. So I'm going to get this out of the way because it's in my face. So I'm not really doing the writing. I'm actually talking about writing. And writers write. They don't talk about writing. They actually write. So that has helped me. Like I said, I'm writing 2 or 3 times a week for a couple of hours at a time, which is really good. I've also found that if I spread out my time, if I do my time in chunks, like an hour to 2 hours, if I dedicate an hour or 2 hours, and I go by 30-minute increments of time, because I'm going to take a break in there somewhere. If I do that, I don't always follow a schedule. I'm too creative and too ADHD to follow an actual schedule, even though I would like to and probably need to. There went my transparency I was going to use. This is really a Sunday chat here. I just braided my hair. So if I find myself overwhelmed, like during that couple of hour stretch that I've dedicated towards, say, journaling, or if I've dedicated a certain amount of time towards writing, or if I've dedicated a certain amount of time towards practicing art, because like I signed up about 2 weeks ago for a drawing course on Sketchbook Schools. It's the $29 one that Dana Gregory teaches. So I have to dedicate some time towards learning, towards doing that, watching the videos and practicing. And try to dedicate 2 or 3 times a week to doing that, because that way I can get through one video, which means during each session. So that's like 3 videos a week where I'm practicing. And I've noticed that when I put less pressure on myself and I just have like a major to-do list for that day, just the master sort of task list, and then I rope it into certain sections, like the morning, the midday, and then the afternoon, and then I have one little section for at night. And I'll take the morning time and I'll dedicate it towards morning pages, towards getting some writing done, towards doing the very first start to my art journal, Omni journal, whatever. And then I don't focus on anything else except those things I've listed for that portion, for that section. And then if I get all of that stuff done, then I go to the next section, which is sort of the midday, and I take a break in between. And then I go look at my to-do list and I go, okay, what's the next sort of section I wrote out? And I kind of can do it that way. Most of the time I can follow it that way. That way I don't like, but on the filming days, when I film, it takes a long time to film a video, to edit it. And a lot of people are going, well, you don't really have to edit. Okay, you do have to edit, because a lot of times when you're filming, the phone rings or the camera doesn't work right, or you have to refilm. You have to turn, when I film these, they film upside down, so I have to rotate them, and stuff like that. And then if the longer the video, the longer it takes, because you have to render the video once you've done it. That's saving the video once you render it. Takes a good while. And then you have to make sure the format's compatible with YouTube. And I don't always edit out but I do have to edit out some pieces. When people knock at the door, the other day I was filming and my father-in-law came and he knocked on the door, and the vehicle was really loud because the window sits right behind my computer screen and where I'm filming is right here. And then the knocking was really loud, and then the phone rang, and so I do have to do some editing. And then when you go to upload, the longer the video is, the longer it takes to upload. And while you're uploading, there's I have a new computer, and this one works really well. But depending on the time of the day that you're uploading, I found that if I try to upload in the evenings, it takes me twice as long, because everybody and their brother is on the computer at the same time using the internet. So the server that we're all on for the internet provider I have, I guess everybody wants to be on at night. So I've actually found that it's easier if I upload in the day, in the morning, like between 9 and like say 11, because I guess a lot of people are super early in the morning. A lot of people are at work during those times, so they're not really doing it. As a writer, I can tell you, talking about writing and what you're working on can help when you've hit a wall or just fleshing out an idea. So it does help. It does help. It does help to talk about it. And when I do a general chat about writing, like if I do a chat, hi Delina, hello Catherine. If I do a general chat or a lot of times when you see me do a video about procrastination, or if you see me do a video about self-doubt, or if you see me do any of that kind of stuff, it's because I've been struggling with that. So I look up information, I research information, I've gone through some of the things that have helped me before. I must have about 5 videos about self-doubt. I probably have at least 3 or 4 about procrastination. It's a good way to hold yourself accountable. It's a good way to talk about a subject, because I found that some things that I tried 2 or 3 years ago, they don't necessarily work now. I've had to kind of redo what does and doesn't work as things evolve and progress. As I progress through different things, as my progress kind of, and it depends on what I'm doing too, like what I'm trying to work on. I find that I am less pressured when I'm just writing, but having a deadline and having some of that pressure, it works really well at the same time too. So it has it really does, excuse me, have its pros and cons, which is why I like working on things during NaNoWriMo events like Camp NaNoWriMo and NaNoWriMo in November, and the 2 camps in the summertime, the spring and summer. Rendering the video is hella long. Ball ache. Yes, this is why I try to upload in the morning since I live in France. I'm telling you, it's the rendering. It's the rendering. I have used where I save Power Director, where I save it to my desktop, and then I actually upload it myself to YouTube. I've tried saving it in a different format than what it saves when you save it online in Power Director. When you save it to go online, and Power Director actually puts it up on YouTube. I found that when I put it up on YouTube, it's quicker than when I let Power Director put it up on YouTube. But it's easier, one click. Because what seems to take so damn long is the rendering part. Now I increased my internet speed and I have a new computer, so it really shouldn't take me nearly as long, but it does. I write blogs and I like to do creative writing. Any suggestions? I was a blogger before I started YouTube. Oh my God, 5 hours to render a 7-minute video. Whew. It's taken me 5 hours to render and upload a 1-hour video. Hello from Barcelona. Okay, so we're going to go back to writing. I am working on the witchy novel, the witchy business novel, the first one. Blogs and creative writing. If you want to blog, and I know, but I haven't been practicing what I preach. I have been trying to get at least 1 to 2 blog posts up a week. And so far, I've been doing pretty good with at least having 1 up a week. Right now, I have 2 blog posts I need to put up, and we're supposed to be put up this week. So, but that's a whole different thing. Creative writing, a really good way to do, depending on what you want to do, Edie. If what you're wanting to do is put some of your work up online, you have to be really careful about copyright. Really careful about copyright. You can put little tiny excerpts like a paragraph, or you can talk about what you think about your characters and stuff like that. But you have to really be careful about copyright and about sharing what you're doing online on a blog. I think blogging about your writing progress and your process are really great if you're not going to be putting what you're actually writing on there. Like, I've shared little tiny bits and pieces of my ideas on YouTube and on my website, on my blog. I shared some stuff, but you have to be really careful about what you're sharing when you're talking about writing. And I don't know how it works with art, to be honest. I probably need to check, but I'm still at that stage where I'm using references a lot to draw with, like clip art. I look at clip art and I draw from the screen on my computer, and I look at it and I draw it. I change a lot of things up when I'm doing that, because that's what I've got on the paper is my original, what I've done, but it's the idea itself came from somewhere else, so it's not my original idea. A lot of that, some of it is, some of what I'm doing when I do things is my original idea, but I try to, if my work comes from something other than clip art, I try to put a little reference on my journal page, like where it came from, where I got the idea to do that came from. When I was younger, I used to do some uploading to DeviantArt. Even then, when I was leery about sharing a lot of my writing, as I didn't want anything stolen. Yeah, you have to be careful. I don't know very many. Back a good couple of years ago, when Katie Tastic used to do videos a lot about writing, she shared an outline and some information about a book that she was working on during one of the NaNoWriMo events. I don't remember which one. But later she said she wouldn't be sharing a whole lot of that anymore because somebody stole her idea and a lot of the stuff that she shared. And I was like, oh, you know, that really sucks. When you're putting out videos to help people and you're sharing your outlining process and things like that to help people who've had questions. I struggled with outlining, which is why you've seen me share a lot when I use the tarot for writing. And I found that doing that is really helpful, but I noticed that, you know, I've seen a lot of different books come out, and I kind of check to see, because I don't want somebody stealing my idea. And the Witchy Business novel is really special to me, and if I see somebody come out with a novel called Witchy Business, that's not actually going to be the title of my novel though. But if I see somebody come out with that title of that novel, especially if it has to do, because I've changed things up back and forth with how my outline is and what I want to do with it. So the general consensus, the general idea behind that is you have to really be careful about sharing your creative ideas on social media when it comes to things like that, because there are people out there who will steal your ideas and your work and stuff. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions. I have to kind of check because there's a little bit, like I said, there's a little bit of a lag in Google. You're welcome, Edie. I would go online and go in WordPress and put in writing, put in creative writing, put in the tag writing process, and just look at some other people's blogs about writing and kind of get a feel for what's out there and what you like and what other people seem to like, and that will help a lot. Yeah, 30 seconds to 1 minute. Yeah, no joke. No joke. And I have this really great headset with this mic, but when he put my computer together, on the very top of my new computer, one of the USB ports doesn't work, and the thing where you plug in the mic and the actual headset doesn't work. Now it works on the back, but I have my tower stored down here now, and I'm not crawling up underneath the desk to plug it into the back. He's got to come over and fix that stuff. So I'm just waiting for him to fix it, so I can't have multiple things plugged in on the top of it at the same time. I want to start a blog, but not sure what to talk about. I'm older, so not much into social media. I'm older, and that's one of the reasons I started my YouTube channel. I was blogging, and on the blog, people don't see your face. Their age is simply a number. Nobody even has to know how old you are in a blog, because they don't see you unless you show pictures of yourself or add video into it. But when I started YouTube, I started watching YouTube about 4 or 5 years ago. But about 3 years ago, I actually opened up a YouTube channel, but I didn't have anything. I just liked videos and commented. Well, people were doing Camp NaNoWriMo and stuff like that, and there were a couple of people that I followed wholeheartedly. And one of them said, "Why, I was blogging. I was writing a blog," and that was before I got the website. When I was just on the free WordPress, I had a much bigger following. A lot of people don't like to go outside of WordPress or Blogger, the Blogspot kind of thing. They like to stay within that. When you have to actually put in your email address to subscribe to somebody, and you no longer have to just hit the follow button, I think that intimidates a lot of people. They don't want to get a lot of people in their email feed. But anyway, which is why I haven't bothered with like a newsletter or any of that stuff. I put my website on the bottom. It's in the description for my YouTube videos, and I share them on Facebook, the blog posts sometimes. But I think for me, I know I like it a whole lot better when I can just click follow. But now back to the blogging and the stuff like that with age. So way back when I first started my making actual YouTube videos, I am almost 50. I will be 50 in July. So I started YouTube in October, will be 3 years ago. So I was in my 40s when I started YouTube. And there were not very many YouTubers on that were doing videos about writing that were older than 30 something. And most of the ones that I found were 20 something. There weren't very many videos out there at all about writing or anything. I didn't start my channel out with art or journaling. I started it out with writing and NaNoWriMo. And then I started I was journaling. I started finding the journaling community. And within the journaling community, I found the planning community and the art journaling, or Fobonichi, Hobonichi, all that kind of stuff. And in that search for journaling and then planning, and a lot of that came up. I got a Filofax. I ordered what I thought was a traveler's notebook, and it ended up with rings in it, and I couldn't stand it. And then I went from doing that to Hobonichi and Fobonichi and all that stuff. So I was blogging along the way, though. Okay. I've never had any luck on WordPress. I used it, but I prefer DeviantArt. See, I don't really care for DeviantArt. I like the pictures up there, but I don't like using the whole site. I don't like the site. I feel 90 and I'm 44. Age is relative. I've seen more people who are older than I am with far more energy. Yes, the 33-year-old. You have a 3-year-old. 53, but have lots of interest and not sure if I need to narrow down to do a blog, or can I talk about all topics? Do you have any unique places that you get different ideas? Mine is the shower and going for walks in the woods. Okay, so I'm gonna answer these, and then I like WordPress better. I tried Blogger, I tried Blogspot, that thing. I'm on Blog Loving, but I like WordPress. If you want to blog and you want to try it free, WordPress to me is really easy if you use the free version. But Blogspot's not bad. The Blogger, it's not bad. I have a lot of interest. I asked and have asked several different times since my YouTube channel has changed, and I've actually considered doing the art burgesstaylor.com. I've actually, because my blog right now, my website's the right, as in writing, not right turn, burgesstaylor.com. I write, I art, I read. I don't do a whole lot of book reviews because there's so many out there. There's tons of booktubers out there. I have done some book reviews on Stephen King and on other books that aren't young adult, because I don't read a whole lot of young adult. I read some, but not a whole lot. I'm an older person. I like books from Stephen King and from John Sanford and from Jim Butcher. I like his Dresden Files series. Patricia Cornwell, I used to love her books. Now they're just her newer ones. I like her older ones. Dean Koontz, big fan of Dean Koontz. I like Anne Rice. I like a lot of different books. I like Patricia Briggs and Linda K. Hamilton. I like a lot of different kinds of books. But I only like some young adult. And that seems to be the big thing, is the young adult on BookTube, and that's not my deal. But I do on occasion talk about products. I do on occasion do reviews about notebooks or journals or anything else. I talk about writing. I talk about all kinds of different things on my blog and on YouTube. And what I tend to do is label it for whatever it is relevant for. If you want to have a blog that's about a lot of topics, pick one word that kind of encompasses all of that. Like if I were to go back and change, if I were to go back now and name some of the things, I would do it differently. I would make sure that Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and WordPress and all of that they all matched. I wouldn't really use any numbers at all in your name. I would go back and say maybe, creating with Burgess Taylor or something, instead of putting a certain label on it, because my interest is in creativity in general. I am a very creative person. And so I don't think that you have to do one thing or the other. And I've asked, because I dabble in such a lot, for some of my regular YouTube followers and things like that, I've asked them, do you think it would be better if I opened a second YouTube channel, and where that one was more about writing, or if I did that one more about like art in the journals? And they're like, no. you know, so I think as long as you are specific about your tags, your categories, I think that people will read what they want to read. People will watch what they want to watch. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who don't watch my videos unless they're about writing, or a lot of people who don't watch my videos because they're too long, or a lot of people who don't watch the videos maybe because they're about writing instead of about art or journaling. Do you have any unique places that I get different ideas? I get ideas when I'm watching TV. I get ideas when I'm taking a walk, or when I'm in the shower, when I go places. My husband and I try to do date night a couple of times a month. And we don't always do the same thing. Sometimes we go out to dinner. Sometimes we go for a coffee date. Sometimes we go for a picnic. We kind of change it up because it depends on how the money situation is. So I get a lot of different ideas. I take a lot of walks outside, and a lot of times I go outside and just sit at the picnic table and I kind of journal. I like to do morning pages at the picnic table when it's not wet out there. I take my cup of coffee if it's dry, and I can go out there and sit and just journal and sip my coffee and enjoy nature. And I get a lot of good ideas that way. It will be easier for people to find you if you narrow things down a bit. If you narrow things down, like I said, pick really good tags and really good categories for your post on your blog, and find a name that will work for you. I'm 50 and I started BookTube when I was 46. My blog's in WordPress and I like it. I'm contemplating transferring my blog to WordPress.org. I have WordPress.org and I tried WordPress. I now think if I'd have went about it differently, I probably would have just done WordPress.org and not did an actual hosting website. But now that I have the hosting, I'm finding that it's a lot better for stuff that I need to do for Patreon, and there's that gnat. For using AdSense and stuff like that. I love WordPress.org. It's more professional. I get more views. Okay. I am not probably the best person to talk to about the differences between hosting and non-hosting and stuff like that. To me, the whole thing was a whole lot easier when I just had WordPress. when I had the .com when your name, you know, or if I'd have just switched and did the WordPress.org, because I have hosting. It still confuses me. I still don't understand all of it. I'm still learning. I'm from the generation that when we used to dial numbers, we had to memorize them. A lot of the tech stuff, my nephews and stuff know a whole lot more about all of this than I do. So I'm still learning. My website is my website. I have a domain name and everything. And I find that I like that better, where I don't have WordPress in my name at all. But I do know I need to get some help. I need to call the people that host my website and find out, you know, more about some of this, because I just use it. But yeah, I like being able to customize it. No publicity on .com though. No, you don't. You have to do your publicity. If you're on WordPress, the free part, and you do tags and categories and stuff like that, when you go onto WordPress and you put in a search thing for tags and categories about certain topics, and the free part of WordPress, a whole bunches of different blogs will come up. But if you have .com, if you have your own website, your stuff comes up on Google, but you have to actually do your marketing advertising yourself. I think that having certain web names is good. For example, if you write and publish a novel, could be one URL specific, and if you want a creative one, you could create a new website name. Yeah, but you have to pay for each domain name. You have to pay for each domain name. So what I have done, what I've decided to do is to, I'm been thinking about this a lot, but I'm not going to do anything until I get to a point where I am blogging again on a very regular basis, where I'm writing 2 and 3 blog posts a week, and where the blog will sustain itself with Google AdSense, because it costs money to pay for domain names and to have somebody host you. So I am seriously thinking about revamping my whole website when it's going to come due again, and changing the name or adding another name or something. I haven't quite made up my mind yet. Or just using, I don't know, but I know I need to change a few things. I know I need to get more cohesive with my branding sort of thing. Because like I said, Twitter, I think, is BurgessTaylor.1, and I think Instagram is BurgessTaylor.5. Yeah, anything that costs money makes no sense if you can't sustain it with income. Exactly. So my hope, now that I've added Google AdSense to my website, is that that will sustain it, and so I don't have to come out of pocket. Because if I have to come out of pocket, I'm probably going to just do WordPress.org. Maybe, I don't know. And just keep my domain name, but the rest of the hosting may go to the side of the water, and I may end up just using WordPress. I haven't made up my mind. But there's so much of that comes with a lot of it. But if I had to redo a lot of it, and I may end up finding out about changing my Twitter name so that Twitter and Instagram and all of that match, because there's some other Burgess Taylor out there, and he has the thing on Twitter and Instagram and stuff so I had to add a number, or I have to add another thing. So I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do as far as those go, because I either need all the numbers to match, I need to just go with the right BurgessTaylor.com and do like the right Burgess Taylor for everything. I just haven't made up my mind. I kept my own name because I have the same username on all social media. I started out with the Burgess Taylor, but then I found when I went to Twitter and to Instagram and stuff that I couldn't use just Burgess Taylor, because there was some other Burgess Taylor out there who's a photographer. So I needed to kind of be more specific. So I've got to figure out, because right now I know I need to change things so that Twitter and Instagram and stuff match. I just haven't figured out exactly what I want to do with any of that yet. Burgess Taylor creates, and I may end up having to do that. May end up having to do that. Create with Burgess Taylor. I don't know. Jen is who came up with the right BurgessTaylor.com, and I like that. I like the play on words. I like that. But I know I'm seriously thinking that it's time for me to do something about Twitter and Instagram. And I don't know if you can actually go in there and change your name on there or not. I don't know. All of that kind of stuff is so really new to me. I need an assistant. But I'm not up there high enough to afford an assistant. So I just need somebody who will handle all that social media crap and fix it all for me, and then I can use it, you know. Because what I've had to do is I actually take pictures that go on Instagram with my camera, and then I upload them onto Facebook, and then I go in with the tablet and I save them on my tablet, and then I share them to Instagram. I will save them on my tablet from Facebook and edit them or do anything else that I need to do to them. And this thing is so dirty, it needs to be cleaned. And then I share them on Instagram, because I don't take pictures with a phone. I don't even like having a phone. Right now, I know my phone is in here somewhere, but I don't know, in the house somewhere, but I don't know where the phone is at. And it probably needs to be charged again. I suck at that. My husband could have been trying to call my daughter, and they fuss at me all the time. But, you know, I hate the phone. I really do, because I don't like texting. My phone freezes. It's an inexpensive phone, and I can't see you paying $500 or $600 or $700 or $1,000 for a phone. I don't. We have Net 10, so we pay like $35 per phone for minutes. Because neither one of us. I mean, my husband uses his phone a lot more than I do. I'm home all the time, and we have a home phone. So if I need to call 911 or need to call, I could actually use it. But I don't, every time I turn around, when I keep the phone near me and I'm trying to film or I'm trying to do anything, you'll hear that, "You've got mail," or "You hear the bull." And if I put it on quiet, then I still can't really hear it. The vibrating thing works, but if you put it on silent, then you don't know when anybody's calling either. So I just, I would like to have a better phone. And I think if I got a better phone, like if I got one of the Samsung Galaxy 3s or 5s or 6s, or I think anything my brother said but the 4 will work where we live to actually use the good towers. You use track phone. Well, Net 10 is part of track phone. It's just better than, we pay, like, we get an unlimited amount of talk and text and stuff. Don't use Instagram. I even looked into hiring high schoolers to do my social media accounts. Use my name on everything except Instagram. I use Romance Writer on the loose there. I also use the same banner on my Facebook author page, website, and Twitter for consistency. And see, that's the thing, is I don't have a whole lot of, mine needs to be more consistent. It needs to be more consistent. I have thought about changing some things. I had a personal Instagram account, and then I had a private, an open one, and they somehow got switched when I got the tablet, and I was playing around with Instagram, and I signed in, and it signed me in, and I was on both of them. And it was Romney who said, "Do you realize that you're posting?" And I realized that I was posting on my personal one, art journal stuff, and I had added people, and I was like, oh shit. So if you've tried to get on the M. Burgess Taylor one, that's because that's actually my personal one, and I don't really use it a whole lot. Mostly I do family stuff on that one. I tried to keep my pictures of Victor to that one. But yeah, so it didn't, having separate personal and not the social media kind of stuff doesn't work for me. I can't, the flip-flopping back and forth doesn't really work too well for me. So I'm to the point now where I just need to go in and figure out if I can change the Twitter handle to .5 instead of .1, I think, and or something, or maybe change Twitter and Instagram and change the name to something else. I don't know. I need to figure it out. I guess I'm gonna have to call my nephews and say, "Hey, look, can you help me? Can you help your crazy aunt out?" Because they're much better at all of this than I am. They have better phones than I do and everything. My one nephew is graduating this year, and my other nephew, I think, is going in. He's just started high school. So, yeah. So, like I said, I'm still learning. I guess I need to come up with one, and maybe just name everything the right Burgess Taylor. Maybe. All right, y'all. I'm gonna answer one or two more questions, and then I'm gonna go because I need to start dinner and stuff. Mr. Rockstar is gonna be getting home. in the next 45 minutes or so, and I need to start dinner, and my coffee's gotten cold. And I like cold coffee with ice in it when it's supposed to be cold, or I like cold coffee. Yeah, I only like it when it's supposed to be cold, when you can put like ice in it, stuff like that. um, I don't like it when it gets cold. So 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'm going to get out of here. And I'm getting hungry. Are you planning to self-publish? I was told it might be best if I start my own publishing company, but not sure I want to commit to all of that. Any thoughts? I've been following Lindsay Mead's self-publishing journey, and quite a few other people, and I think I might actually be doing that. See, there goes my phone ringing, and that's probably my husband or my daughter. I'm probably going to end up self-publishing. Self-publishing. So that's it. I hope y'all have a good one. Thanks, y'all. Bye.